The premise of the whole leader is that to be the best leader we can be, then we actually have to start with the whole person. And in starting with the whole person and understanding what it is that drives us, what our purpose is, what our strengths and our intention and our identity are, then we can actually start to build up into our unique leadership self. Because each of us should articulate our story in a way that is uniquely personal to us. So Adam will tell you all about Simple Revolution and share his model with you, and by the time you leave later on this morning, you will be equipped to use Adam's framework and become the best you can be telling your stories to inspire others.
The theme of the event was storytelling and making sure you get your message over in a nice, clear, concise way. No business jargon, just be yourself and be honest, and people will listen to something you're compassionate about.
Now, I think there are two things that we need to do when we communicate. I think first of all we need to get to the point, and secondly I think we need to sound like ourselves. We need to make sure that what we say feels authentic and real and credible for you. The question we always ask ourselves is, what is that story then? How is it unique? What is interesting or unusual? So how do you get under the skin of what that story is and really draw out the bits that will engage people? Because you might be talking to your staff, or you might be talking to investors. There could be any number of people that you're talking to. They'll all want to know something slightly different. And the technique we use for this is really simple. Just start with, what should your audience know, feel and do?
The group experience was really quite an intimate conversation for everybody that people gave there, and it made me realise that actually if you're talking about something that you're passionate about or that you believe in, people are quite interested to hear your story.
Specifically on our table, we were talking about when you're pitching to clients and how you communicate what it is that you do.
How does your story sound when you tell it? Does it sound like you? I mean, my general advice is just copy the way you talk. That's the way to write effectively, and you should be able to read things out loud and it sounds like you. When you communicate well, you're not just on transmit mode, you're also thinking, what is the other person going through? What's in their mind? Communicators are interesting, but they're also interested in the other person.
My key takeaways are to be authentic. That was a big theme throughout the morning.
Yeah, I think the key takeaways with communication and or storytelling, which is the same thing, is that you need to have passion and belief in the story you're telling and the communication you're making. So keep it simple and really being yourself when you're giving that message or telling that story.
If you give yourself a constraint, it forces you to think differently about how you tell the story. It forces you to think, what is most important, what has to go in there, how do I make sure that I get across the important points for the person I'm talking to in that limited space. So I think that's the first bit I would always do. When you're thinking about how you tell your story, give yourself a constraint that helps you focus and get to the point.